Guess what, everybody? Oh,
It's too much
it's
beating on the
time
table around
for the
here.
most delicious segment in all of sports, and the only sports segment that prominently features a pie. Ooh, and I hope you brought your appetite because the slices are Lorenzo-size large, even though Tatum ate Philadelphia's slice. Nick, without further ado.
What's the Lorenzo's? I don't even get the reference. But
Well, you weren't supposed to get it. It's only for our Philadelphia audience.
Oh.
Lorenzo's has giant slices.
Oh, that's
but
a Philadelphia
is not.
pizzeria?
You know what? Jokes always better
Philadelphia
when they're
has nothing to
explained.
do with this
jokes
segment.
always better when the audience
Philadelphia
gets
has
It was
absolutely
First
nothing
slice.
to do with this segment.
If-
Sixers are done.
They are
firing
done.
people.
They are done. 20%. The Miami Heat. By the way, everyone's slice is larger than it was last week because we are down to just 4 teams. So, while I don't know if I've said it on this show, I think if people that either watch the podcast or on Twitter, they know I am picking the Heat to beat the Celtics. So you might be surprised as to why the Heat have the smallest slice of the pie, because this is not an Eastern Conference pie, it is a title pie. And the Heat are in the odd position of, even if they win this series, they would be on the road against the Lakers in the finals. The Lakers could have home court advantage in the finals despite being the 7th seed. That hurts the Heat chances also. The fact that I think it will take a Herculean effort from Jimmy Butler to get through the Boston Celtics, which I think he'll be able to do by the time you get to the finals. What do you have left? But why do I give them a far greater chance than Vegas does, which has them 15-1 to win the title, which would be a 6% slice of the pie? They have the best coach in the league, and they have the best player in the series. We can talk more about that. And
That is a wild take.
Yeah,
that's a wild take.
don't
I'm sorry.
agree with that.
People have not been watching the NBA playoffs?
I watched the last 5 quarters.
No, no, I get it. The last thing that happened is
Jason
the
Tatum just dropped 51
Yeah, which
in a
is-
game 7?
Yeah.
5
Record.
less than
On
Jimmy
a
Butler
team
dropped
some people
to
picked to
eliminate
win
the Milwaukee Bucks.
championship?
But that's fine.
In the
Listen,
East?
it's not a shot at Tatum. It is more respect to playoff Jimmy. And if they can, here's the last thing I'll say about Miami. If they can beat Milwaukee in 5, why is it crazy to say they can beat Boston?
Because Giannis was hurt?
Except they beat Milwaukee in games 4 and 5 with a fully functional Giannis, including a 38-20 from Giannis in game 5. Next up in the pie, Boston, 22%. Fantastic final 54 minutes that saved Missoula's job and likely kept Tatum and Brown together. However, Brew likes to talk about championship pedigree, and we were talking Sixers, Celtics. He's like, man, the Celtics always beat Philadelphia, and Embiid's never beaten them. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, has been there for this 7th postseason. So in the last 6 years, twice they have been knocked out of the playoffs by Miami, and twice they have been knocked out of the playoffs by LeBron James. The other 2 is, I think, Milwaukee once and Brooklyn once. To get to a championship, they're going to have to go through Miami and then LeBron James. That makes me skeptical. However, they do have home court advantage the rest of the way, and they do have 1 through 8, I think, the best overall talent.
Most depth.
The most depth. All of these teams that are left have 7 or 8 guys they trust, but Boston's 8th guy is better, and I know that seems like a minor thing, but it's not when those guys play real minutes. Up to 24%, Denver. I believe the Western Conference Finals are the NBA Finals. I believe the winner of this series is going to win the title. Can Nikola Jokic keep up this unbelievable production for another month? Not just another 2 weeks to get through LeBron and Anthony Davis, but then another 2 weeks after that to get either through Bam and Jimmy or Al Horford, who just shut down league MVP Joel Embiid in some very critical spots. My biggest worry for the Nuggets is Michael Porter Jr. getting infected with the old main character syndrome. Michael Porter Jr. is a supporting actor in this movie. At times, it feels like he thinks he's the main character. That's not good for Denver, and I am not sure they are ready for the defensive test that any of these, that the Lakers, and then whoever comes out of the East, would present them in the finals, but they're up to 24%. And then there's the Lakers. The biggest piece of the pie, up to 34%. I was laughed at when I gave them an even 8% slice.
That's true.
And then the next week was 15. And then it was 20. And then 25. And then the odd 27.5%. Not quite sure how that happened. And now 34%. LeBron's playoffs, let me ask you this.
Oh.
What if they just started in Game 6? What if LeBron looked at the Grizzlies and said, yeah, they're not ready, they're not mature enough, I'll turn it on when I need to, and that was for about 6 minutes, the end of Game 4. And then the Warriors, all right, let's wait and see how they react to our defense and what Anthony Davis does. And then when it was winning time, end of Game 4 and the entirety of Game 6, it's like, okay, maybe LeBron can't do it for 2 months anymore. What if he only has to do it for 1 month and it started a few days ago? Does he have a dozen games left in him? And AD, Brew, if the Lakers win the title, we start having very interesting Anthony Davis conversations. You said after one of his great games, he finally felt worthy of being a top 75 guy. They win the title, let's talk about contemporaries. Does he jump Russ? I think so. Does he jump Harden? Maybe. What about other bigs? If they win the title, you want to have an Anthony Davis, Patrick Ewing conversation? I'll listen to it. And so there are some real historical things on the line for Anthony Davis. That is title pie.
All right, not bad, not bad. Look, it's a good pie because Miami does scare me.
Oh!
I mean, I'm clearly picking Boston, obviously, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because of Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra. But I think Boston wins on talent. And Joe Mazzulla just has to be in the ballpark. He's going to get out-coached. But just be
this
solid.
Might be a 1 versus a 16 coaching matchup.
Right.
You
talent.
really don't like Mazzulla.
I just think he's young and inexperienced, and they didn't expect for him to be that good.
Here's my issue. I would put Boston ahead of Denver. Now, I don't know who's I'm going to pick. I picked the Lakers, obviously, to get to the Lakers and Celtics in the finals. It is hard for me to see Boston being as young as they are. I know Jason Tatum's experience. He's 25.
I mean, they've been young.
Yeah, but beating LeBron, all right, and Anthony Davis. But I'm not so convinced that if Denver doesn't win the West, that they couldn't beat them.
Sure, because Denver's
they've
just
got the
as
two
young.
big. They're young, they're not experienced, and they've got the two bigs and Robert Williams III and Al Horford, who's a great defender still, and smart. They could defend Jokic to some degree. And then they got two offensive studs in Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Even the Lakers got one in LeBron, and AD is a sometimey offensive stud. Sure. So I think Boston might be a tough matchup for Denver. If it gets to that, I'll make my pick. But that's why I would move them ahead of
that's
Denver
fair.
right now.
I'm really glad to hear you say that you don't think this is going to be a walkover for Boston. Because Vegas does.
It's going to be tough.
Vegas has Celtics at minus 500. There are 4 teams left. And if you bet $100 on the Heat to win the title, you win $1,500 right now. And again, I don't think they're going to win the title. But the Heat being treated like they're a mid-major that crashed the Final Four when we saw them in Game 7 of the conference finals last year and we saw them in the finals, NBA finals 2 years prior is odd to me. Go ahead, Mark.
It's time for some cogent analysis, everybody, in Title Pie. A lot of everyone else here talking about pizza and toppings. I'm here to deliver the cogent analysis. Here are the 3 reasons why the Nuggets, first of all, to get past the Lakers, but this also means win the titles. Splash quintuplets. You've heard of the Splash Brothers?
Yeah.
All of these numbers surprise me, even though I've been, you can't read those numbers, but if you could.
Yeah, the white on yellow is a tough one.
Well, you got to take it up with the graphic designer in Denver. 39% for 2, 40%, 38, 47.
Yeah.
Basically, you're not playing the Warriors anymore where you worry about Steph, and you don't have to worry about Looney. You don't have to worry about Draymond.
Yep.
And you don't have to worry about Clay after Game 2.
Yeah.
Reason number 2. Do you remember LeVar Ball?
Yeah.
You know what he did?
Never
You know what he
lost.
said? Never lost.
That's my
Never lost at home. Now, they lost in the regular season at home. We had in the last 38 games, they're 34-4, 6-0 at the postseason. So I know you have LeBron coming in stealing Game 1. I don't think it happens. I think the altitude is there. It's already affecting LeBron. He had to take his shirt off during practice. That wasn't for attention. That was because of the
He wasn't the
hot
only
air.
person with his shirt off.
Well, but
you have a weird
but
thing with LeBron workout
But he
videos,
led
buddy.
the charge. He's the NBA's Matthew McConaughey. And then finally, we've seen a lot of people regress in the playoffs, big men specifically.
This is a good point.
Giannis got hurt, so he went down a little bit. Embiid got hurt, went down a little bit. Joker, healthy, and has gone up. Points, way up.
Yep.
Rebounds, up. Now, the assists got to get better there. 9.8 to 9.7. But he's been consistent, if not better, in everything. Yep. I think he's going to have a big
new
game.
Haircut, too.
He's got a new haircut, and he's used to the altitude, can keep his shirt on. Yeah. I think it's probably wise for
Joker's
everyone.
not going to be taking his shirt off.
Okay, that's why I believe in Denver.
So, all right, can I respond to each of those 3 points quickly? First one. 3-point percentages is a good point, but Denver doesn't shoot a ton of threes. Right. That's not what they want to do. They are good shooters, but I think that's a leading, not a lagging indicator, meaning one of the reasons the percentage is so high is because they're really only taking really good looks because they're not trying to force them. Second one, 6-0 at home in this postseason sounds even better. You know the only team that's better? The Lakers, who are 7-0 because the play-in counts.
They
and
do
lastly,
not have home court advantage, though.
I understand, but I get that. So if you think it's going to go, the home team's going to win every single game, that speaks to your favor.
The series never started.
The series never started. And then last point, Jokic has been unbelievable. There is no denying it. I think Oscar's going to be safe as the only guy to ever average 30, 12, and 9 at the end of this, because going up against Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, and that silly team, and then going up against the Suns' non-existent postseason defense, it's very different than the number one defense in basketball for 2 months in Anthony Davis.
Okay. Strong maybe.
But listen, you've been
Anthony Davis out there feasting on
Nuggets fan all year.
Yeah.
I know.
I've been out there.
Credit. I know.
You've been
You're
out
watching
there.
out.
You've been talking about every
God.
show. You've been talking
I'm like,
about
guys,
the
did you
Nuggets,
see
how great
Denver?
they are.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I was watching the Lakers. I was like, what?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.